This is the story of a camping trip I'm going to tell you. And no, it's not the fun kind with marshmallows and songs around a fire. This one left a mark on me, something I'll never forget, and maybe after you hear it, you'll think twice before going deep into the woods. It all started when me and my three friends, Zane, Mira, and Raj, decided to go camping for the weekend. We were tired of the city, the noise, the rush. We wanted peace. Nature. Stars instead of streetlights. So we found this remote camping spot online. It wasn't a famous one. In fact, it wasn't even on Google Maps properly. But it looked perfect, deep in the forest, near a small river, with just enough space for tents and a fire pit. Sounded like heaven. We packed our bags, got the food, water, and gear, and drove for hours until we hit a dirt road. From there, we had to hike for about 40 minutes to reach the place. No phone signal, no people around, just us and the trees. When we got there, it really was beautiful. The sun was shining through the tall pines, the river water was crystal clear, and birds were singing. It felt peaceful, safe. We set up our tents, made a fire, and even played some music on a small speaker. As night came, we sat around the fire. Raj started telling some ghost stories, typical camping stuff. We laughed, roasted marshmallows, and tried to scare each other. It was all fun and games. But when everyone went to sleep, something felt different. I was lying in my tent, looking up at the dark fabric above me, listening to the fire slowly die out. I wasn't sleepy. Maybe it was the quiet. The real, deep silence that you only get in the middle of nowhere. No cars. No humming from machines. Just the forest. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Soft, slow steps on the dry leaves. Not animals running. Not whined. This was steady, human-like. At first, I thought it was one of my friends. Maybe Zane needed to pee or something, but when I peeked out through a tiny gap in my tent, I saw his tent was zipped up and still, and I could hear him snoring. So, who, or what, was walking around our campsite? The steps came closer. Right next to my tent. I held my breath. My heart was beating so loud I was scared whoever was out there could hear it. And then, there was silence. No more steps. No sound. Just when I thought maybe it was over, I heard something that chilled my blood. A whisper. Right by my ear. But no one had opened the tent. No shadows. No sign of anyone. Just that soft, clear voice. Go back. It wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. It was just there. Like a warning. Like someone, or something, wanted us to leave. Wanted us gone. I froze. I didn't move. I stayed in that same position until the sun started to rise. I didn't tell the others that morning. I couldn't. It sounded too crazy. And maybe I imagined it right. That's what I kept telling myself. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. And this was only the beginning. So after that first creepy night, the one where I heard footsteps and that whisper, go back, I woke up feeling weird. Tired. Not just because I didn't sleep well, but because something inside me felt off. Like something in that forest was watching us. But I didn't say anything. I told myself it was probably just my imagination, maybe a dream. Maybe I was just tired from the hike, so I brushed it off. At least I tried to. That morning, everyone seemed in a good mood. Mira made some coffee on the portable stove. Raj was joking about how his sleeping bag smelled like wet dog, and Zane was trying to fish in the river, even though none of us had any clue how to actually fish. We decided to go on a short hike after breakfast. The plan was to follow the river upstream and come back before dark. The forest was calm, but Mira kept looking over her shoulder like she was expecting something to pop out from the trees. You guys feel that? She asked quietly at one point. Feel what? Raj replied. Like oh no, like someone's watching us. Zane rolled his eyes and made some joke about forest ghosts, but I didn't laugh, because I felt it too, that same feeling from the night before. Like the trees had eyes. Like the forest was alive. And then we saw something. About halfway into our hike, Raj pointed at a tree. It had 3 deep scratches down the trunk. Long ones. Claw marks. But they weren't small. No animal I knew made scratches that wide or that deep. Zane said maybe it was a bear. But there were no other signs of bears around. No tracks. No broken branches. No poop. Just those awful claw marks. I touched the scratches and the bark was still fresh, like whatever made them did it not too long ago. We moved on, more careful now, and got back to camp just before sunset. That night we lit the fire again, but it didn't feel like the night before. It was quieter. Too quiet. You know when you're in the forest, you're supposed to hear stuff. Bugs, birds, owls, the wind in the trees. But that night, there was nothing. Just our voices. And silence. Thick, heavy silence. We tried to keep it light. Raj made more jokes. Mira told a funny story about a guy who got chased by a raccoon once. But underneath all of that, I could tell we were all uneasy. Eventually, we went to sleep. But I stayed up. I kept my flashlight close and listened. And then, just like the night before, something happened. Around 2 a.m., Mira screamed. We all shot out of our tents. I grabbed my flashlight and ran to her. Her tent had been ripped open, not from the zipper. I mean torn, like with claws. She was crying, pointing toward the trees. I saw it, she whispered, shaking. There was something there. It was standing between the trees. It was tall, taller than a man. And its eyes, they glowed. We looked, but there was nothing there. Just darkness. But her tent, those claw marks were real. Deep, too big for any normal animal. No raccoon did that. I shined my flashlight toward the woods, and for a split second, I thought I saw something. A shadow. Tall, thin, just at the edge of the light. But when I moved the beam, it was gone. We didn't sleep again that night. We all sat close to the fire until sunrise. That's when we all knew. We weren't alone out there. Something else was in those woods. And it didn't want us there. So after that terrifying night, Mira screaming, her tent torn open, and her saying she saw something in the woods, we were done. We didn't care about finishing the trip. We wanted out. First light, we started packing up. No one was talking much. Mira's hands were shaking. Raj was quiet for once. And Zain, who always joked about everything, was dead serious. We were ready to leave. But when Zain reached into his backpack for the car keys, they were gone. He searched every pocket. We dumped out all our bags, checked the tents, checked the ground. The keys were just gone. We thought maybe someone misplaced them, but we all remembered him putting them in the small zip pocket on the side of his bag. He even swore he saw them there the night before. Now they were just missing. And that's when we saw the footprints. Not ours. These were different. Barefoot. Long toes. Too long. The footprints weren't shaped like human ones. Not really. The heel was weird. Almost like it was stretched. And they weren't scattered. They were deliberate. Like someone, or something, had walked around our campsite. All of our tents. And then the footprints just vanished near the edge of the forest. That's when we panicked a little. Zain suggested we start walking toward the road. We couldn't call anyone, no signal. But if we hiked far enough, we'd hit the highway eventually. We figured it was maybe 8 to 10 kilometers away. So we left everything we didn't need, packed light, and started walking. The first hour went okay, but then, things got strange. We were following the river, using it as a guide. But after a while, we noticed something. The same tree appeared again. A large twisted tree with a split trunk. Raj said, "Didn't we already pass this?" We kept going. Then Mira saw something floating in the river. It was a soda can, Zain's soda can. The one he had thrown in the river after lunch the day before. We thought it drifted away downstream. But there it was, right next to us. We all stopped. Mira whispered, "We've been walking in circles." It didn't make sense. We were careful. We followed the river. We used a compass. Still, somehow, the forest had brought us back. We were all quiet for a moment. And then we heard it again. A whisper, not loud, not close this time, but around us, in the trees, like the wind was speaking. "Go back." We all heard it. And then again, but this time from the other side. "Go back." Zain spun around. No, 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 this can't be real," he muttered. Raj yelled, "Who's out there?" But of course, there was no answer. We tried to keep walking, but it felt like we were being pulled in a circle. The trees started to look the same. No matter how far we walked, we ended up back at the same part of the river. It was like the forest didn't want us to leave. I looked at the others. They were pale, sweating, and it wasn't from the hike. We were being hunted, not chased, not attacked. Played with. That's when Mira said something that chilled me. It's not just watching us, it's leading us. And the worst part? She was right. Whatever was out there wasn't just some wild animal, it was smart, and it was waiting. After hours of walking and ending up in the same spot, we were exhausted, mentally and physically. Zane was pacing, Raj kept rubbing his temples like he had a headache, and Mira sat by the river, hugging her knees, barely saying anything. We decided to take a short break, just 10 minutes. Maybe if we cleared our heads, we could figure something out. I sat down on a flat rock, closed my eyes, and tried to listen to the river. It was the only sound that still felt normal. And then, snap. A twig broke behind us. We all jumped up. But when we looked around, there was no one. And then, something changed. The sky. It was brighter just a second ago, but now the sun was lower. Like way lower, almost setting. "What time is it?" Raj asked. Zane checked his watch. Then his face went pale. 3:50, he said. We all stared at him. That's not possible, I said. We sat down at like 2:15. We had just sat for a few minutes. No way we lost over an hour. But somehow, we did. None of us remembered falling asleep. None of us remembered anything except sitting for a quick break. But the time was gone. We called it the lost hour. And after that, everything started to fall apart. The forest got darker, too fast. It was like someone hit a switch. One moment we were in daylight, the next it was nearly twilight. The trees looked taller, thicker, closer. And the shadows between them moved. I swear I saw something walking between the trunks. A tall shape. Thin, silent. Not once, but again. And again. Sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right. It wasn't showing itself fully, it was just letting us see enough. We didn't talk anymore, we just walked. Not even sure where. Just hoping to find something, anything, to lead us out. Then Mira suddenly stopped. She pointed. There was smoke, just barely visible, rising between the trees. "A house," she whispered. We followed it, hope rising in our chests. Maybe a cabin, a ranger station, anything. But what we found made that hope vanish. It wasn't a house. It was our campsite. The same one we left hours ago. Our tents were still there. The fire pit. Even Mira's broken tent, torn open on one side. We had walked in circles again. Raj started laughing, that strange, broken laugh people do when they're too scared to cry. "We're stuck," he said. "We're stuck in a loop." Thane threw his bag on the ground. "We're being messed with. This isn't natural. This is something evil." I didn't want to believe it, but deep down I did. We sat around the dead fire pit, not knowing what else to do. Night was falling fast. And that's when we heard it. A voice. A child's voice. From the trees. "Help." Faint. High-pitched. "Please, help me," it repeated. Again and again. But no matter how hard we looked, we couldn't see anyone. Just trees. Darkness. Nothing else. Mira stood up. "We can't leave a child out there." "No," I said, grabbing her arm. "That's not a child." She looked at me, her eyes full of fear. She knew I was right. Because that voice? It was too perfect, too clean. Like someone trying to sound like a child. And it was coming from all directions at once. Like the forest itself was speaking. We didn't sleep that night either. We just sat close to the fire pit. Flashlights shaking in our hands, listening to that haunting voice say again and again, "Help me." But we didn't move. Because we finally understood, it was luring us. That last night, it was the longest night of my life. We didn't sleep, we couldn't. That fake child's voice never stopped. Sometimes it said, "Help me." Other times it cried, sometimes it laughed. Not a normal laugh. A slow, broken laugh like something that knew what fear felt like, and enjoyed it. We huddled close to the dead fire pit. All our flashlights were on, batteries almost gone. Raj kept his back against a tree. Zane gripped a stick like it would protect him. Mira sat between us, whispering prayers under her breath. The worst part? The silence between the whispers. It was like the forest was breathing. Like it was waiting. At around 3 a.m., Raj stood up suddenly. I can't take this anymore, he said. I'm going. I don't care where, I'm not dying here waiting. We begged him to stay, but he was done. He walked off into the woods with his flashlight shaking in his hand. We watched him go. Then we heard the voice again, but this time it was Rise. Guys, come here. I found a way out. His voice was close, then far, then to the left, then behind us. Zane stood up, eyes wide. He's circling us, he whispered. He's not walking straight. And then Mira screamed. A figure stepped out from the shadows across the river. It was tall, taller than any person. Its arms were long, too long. Its body was thin and dark, blending into the trees. And its eyes were glowing white. It didn't run, it just watched us. Zane dropped the stick and whispered, that's what she saw, that first night. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The thing took one step closer and it made no sound. Not a crunch. Not a breath. Then it tilted its head. And it spoke, in Raj's voice. Guys, come here. We ran. We didn't even think. We just ran. Through branches, over rocks, our flashlights flickering. And then something unbelievable happened. We saw headlights. Real headlights. A car on the road. We burst out of the trees, covered in dirt and scratches, screaming, waving our arms. The car stopped. A man jumped out, stunned to see us. We begged him for help. He looked confused and said, Where did you all come from? That part of the forest has been shut off for years. He drove us to the nearest ranger station. When we told them where we had camped, the rangers looked at each other nervously. One of them finally said, That area. It's off limits for a reason. We asked why. And they said years ago, a group of hikers had disappeared in that exact spot. No bodies, no trace, just gone. Search teams found torn tents, strange symbols on the trees, and claw marks, deep, inhuman claw marks. They say something ancient lives in those woods, something that can mimic voices, something that feeds on fear. They warned us never to go back. We never did. As for Raj, they never found him. And sometimes when I lie awake at night, I think I hear his voice, soft, whispering from far away. Guys, come here. That's the end of the story. But if you ever go camping, and you hear a voice in the woods that sounds too familiar, don't follow it, because sometimes the forest doesn't let everyone leave.